Are you tired of feeling held back by daddy issues? Are you having issues dealing with conflicts in relationships? Trust and vulnerability, they are words that really don't apply to how you move in relationships, are they? Have you ever wondered how these issues impact your emotional well being? Welcome back, Sophisticates. I'm Davina Dandridge, author and emotional empowerment coach. Today, we're diving deep into the journey of overcoming daddy issues and unlocking emotional empowerment. See, daddy issues can result from growing up with an absent father or having a poor relationship with the present father. But you don't have to let these issues control you. By taking responsibility for your own emotions, healing, and building healthy relationships, you can overcome these challenges. Remember, you have the power to create the life you want. So don't let anything hold you back from fulfilling your future desires. Many women with daddy issues struggle with deep seated insecurities. If this is you, you often question your worth and you feel inadequate at times due to past experiences or lack of a father figure. Your worth, though, isn't defined by external validation. You don't need to get what other people see about you or how other people feel about you to validate who you really are. You have the power within yourself and the use of emotional intelligence to change that viewpoint of yourself. It's time to embrace your unique qualities and build confidence from within. Psalm 68:5 shows God as a father who is the father for those who don't have a father. This scripture highlights God's love and care for you, especially if you lack a parental figure or if you face daddy issues. Wherever there is a gap, our God is big enough to fill it. So if you have a hole, you might think in your heart or in your personality or in the way that you think because you didn't have a father figure in your life, you do have a father, a heavenly father who will fill that void for you. This verse establishes God's role as a provider and a protector. Self awareness and positive self image is what you need to get over, through, or past daddy issues. In my book, Brains and Baubles Do What Works for You, I share how the power of self awareness and positive image really helps you. See, my father was present and active in my life until he passed in 2003. I found him as he after he had passed away, and it was really gripping for me. But what I realized was that I took for granted some of the words and the things that we did. And it wasn't until he had passed on that I found the true value in having a father in my life. And that's why I'm dedicating my mission here to share some of that wisdom with women who don't have a dad figure or didn't have that relationship in their life. Because many of the words he said and the things we did together helped to shape me into the woman that I am today. I am very fortunate for the relationship that we had. And I know this isn't the case for every woman. And, the relationship with the father really matters. And even if you're young or if you're good and grown, you need that bond, or you think that you had to have that bond to make it through. Your father's absence of lack of participation in your life doesn't mean that you lack value or worth. It really doesn't. See, here's how you can overcome daddy issues and empower yourself to be the best version of yourself. Don't rest in your old identity as the woman who lacks something because their relationship with their father wasn't storybook, right? Here's what you do though. You start by acknowledging your emotions and the triggers related to daddy issues. You have to acknowledge them. You have to pinpoint them so that you can address them, so you can turn them around using emotional intelligence. What you do is reflect on your strengths, reflect on your talents and the accomplishments independent of validation from other people. You have to work on yourself. You can't do anything about the relationship that you didn't have, but you can work on yourself. You work on cultivating a positive self-image rooted in self-love and acceptance. Nobody can place a worth on you like you can yourself. And I say that in every arena, whether it's in business or relationships or just being an independent person out in the world. You have to have the worth for yourself in order for other people to recognize your worth. Self-awareness is the place to start examining the triggers and addressing them. So, what once was a perceived hindrance to your success in knowing who you are doesn't stifle the image of yourself. Because you thought you had to have a certain type of relationship with your dad, or because you thought because other people poured into your life, but they weren't your biological father, that you somehow missed out on something, you have to change that. You can't let that hold you back. Emotional intelligence and self-awareness are the keys to overcoming daddy issues. Join my emotional reset challenge, where together we uncover what your true triggers are and how to deal with them using emotional intelligence. So, click the link in the description to sign up and transform from a triggered responder to an emotional planner. Another common pain point for women who didn't have a father in their life the way that they wanted to is the fear of abandonment. Daddy issues can leave you feeling abandoned or rejected, impacting your ability to trust and form other healthy relationships. But it's time to address these fears and heal from past wounds. Your past is your past. It's an opportunity to learn and to do something about the emotions that they have placed on you. It doesn't mean that you default to them and just to say, well, that's just who I am. That's the lot I was given and I have to deal with it. No. Sometimes it takes time to really figure out what's the best way to move forward. As we mature and have children of our own, we realize that many dynamics that take place in our lives and relationships took place in our parents' lives. We recognize that our parents are people too. They have different types of relationships, different levels of emotional intelligence, and different abilities to love and show love. So, but while it is not your responsibility to make excuses for why your father may not have participated in your life or in the relationship the way that you wished, there may have been reasons why he didn't. So have some kind of empathy for the fact that people go through things that they don't discuss with you. Remember, you are his child or you are their children, and you might not get all the behind the scenes that you might need to fill in some of the answers why. Triggered feelings like abandonment are understandable, but understanding why you are triggered doesn't mean that the fear of abandonment has to be a default emotion for you. You can work through this fear, and it may require therapy or other interventions, but you can get through that. Healing from daddy issues begins with forgiveness. In many of my videos, I discuss the power of forgiveness in releasing emotional burdens. See, the forgiveness isn't necessarily for the person who did you wrong or the person who didn't show up for you. Forgiveness is for you. And not only are you to forgive the person who hurt you, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for maybe time lost or the way that you reacted or were triggered in certain situations, the way that you talked to your parents because you just were hurt and you didn't understand. But the practice of forgiveness for your father and yourself, it helps you. So focus on healing old wounds and letting go of resentment. The journey of healing will pave the way for healthier relationships and emotional empowerment. And this is in every area of your life, and you need this to create the future that you desire. If this content is hitting home with you, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel for more empowering content, and ring the notification bell to stay updated on new videos. Your support, it means the world to me. Now, Trust issues often stem from daddy issues. And we hear that when we have talks about relationships, she has a bad attitude, or she doesn't trust, or she's skeptical because she didn't have a father figure or a daddy in her life. Well, in some cases, that may be true. The trust issues from daddy issues makes it challenging to trust people and form meaningful connections. Not everyone will hurt you, though, and not everyone will abandon you. So, working on your emotions allows you to develop openness and vulnerability. You don't have to have this hard persona, this hard shell. You can still operate in life and use emotional intelligence to help you become vulnerable. It's essential to work through these trust barriers to cultivate fulfilling relationships. You must work to accept relationships on a one-to-one basis. It's not fair to just trust all men just because your relationship with your dad wasn't the way that you wanted it to be. But it does take time to trust people. So trust isn't instant by any means, whether you had daddy issues or not. But you should be open to trust until you see evidence otherwise. You have to use your intuition. You have to keep your eyes open to see if there are areas where you shouldn't trust someone. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the fact that your daddy wasn't present. Being open to trust is not the same, though, as being gullible or being a sucker, right? This is why creating boundaries and setting up proper expectations is so important. Because without the proper expectations, you get let down a lot. It takes time to find out who people are and if they have the capacity to live up to the expectations that you have already set. So you have to be realistic. And again, that goes right back to self-awareness. So empower yourself by working to build healthy relationships based on trust and effective communication. You do this by setting up those boundaries we talked about. I have a video, and I'll drop the link right here, about setting up boundaries. And when I tell you I dropped some nuggets in that video, you go back and watch that, and you can begin today to start making these changes, because you need to express your needs openly. Don't assume that people know what your boundaries are and what you need. This is where vulnerability comes in, and it really works for you. So you can begin to surround yourself with supportive people and people that you can trust. So practicing empathy and understanding in your interactions with other people are the way to start building good relationships. When you come from a place of understanding, you give people the opportunity to be themselves. My dad used to say, life is not a fairy tale. And you know what? It is not. It's not. So you have to put down the idea of what should be or what should have been, because life is not a fairy tale. There are so many things that go into our lives to shape what we do, how we do it, and how we interact, and especially how we react to triggers, right? And so to foster genuine connections that uplift and empower you, you have to put down this idea that everyone is going to operate exactly like you think they should. You got to leave yourself room to accept people as they are and then decide how you're going to deal with them. You are not defined by your daddy issues. Embrace your journey of emotional healing and personal growth as a path to sophisticated empowerment. With self-awareness, forgiveness, and healthy relationships, you can overcome daddy issues and thrive in all aspects of your life. Join our community of sophisticated and empowered women on a journey to emotional wellness. Share your experiences and insights in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more empowering content. Together, we can conquer daddy issues and form a life filled with sophisticated empowerment. See you next time.